Okay, I have written a sample introduction for the Writers Workshop for the social media focus that we rolled the dice and decided to go with. That we landed on with the dice. That was negative. Again, you can take your own view and whoa, whoa, almost topped over that little thing. So you'll take your own view with whether you're taking that it's negative, positive, somewhere in the middle. We rolled the dice and did negative, so that's what I worked with. And again, you can't possibly tackle all those issues that we did in the brainstorm. You'll take your own focus. That was just to generate your thinking. So I did an intro that's 7 sentences. It's big because, I'm writing in marker. And I'm just going to kind of frame this a little. Normally I do this writer's workshop in class, and I do it very organically. I get ideas from students, and I usually just write it like that in front of 30 people, right? And there's a sort of magic to it, honestly. It's always just kind of flowed. But because there's this sort of magic to it, it's not something that I'm really going to be able to type out and distribute to you. I think you can use it to write your own intro. It's just kind of to show you kind of a model, an example, and also organically how it can kind of flow once you have that that structure. So I know this venue of having to do this via video is rather imperfect. But that's what we're working with, and I still hope it can be helpful. And in addition to that, if you have questions and you're trying to, craft your intro and it's not, something's just really confusing or that, I mean, do contact me. I'm really happy to help. And I've, those of you that I've been able to talk to on the phone and help you with that, it's been, very gratifying to me. It's really fun for me. All right, so that said, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go over, I have the overview layer, I have the explaining the controversy layer, and then the transition to my thesis and the thesis, and it's 7 sentences. So here we go. So this says, and I'll read it like this, and then I will try my best to move it up to the camera to show you, so maybe if it's not clear that it can be more clear. All right, so it says, in recent years, social media has allowed users to connect with others around the globe and made keeping in touch easier than ever before. Users can now make friends in countries they have never visited, and can share photos, videos, and family updates with relatives who, despite their location, are now just a click away. However, despite the benefits, social media has several underlying problems that make this form of communication detrimental to users. While social media is often promoted as a tool for connection, in reality, these formats such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter often leave users feeling more disconnected than ever before. Users may log on to share their struggles and find that the superficial comments of their friends leave them feeling even more alone in their problems. Instead of real concerns and offers to help, many users have found only empty likes and vacuous comments like, "You got this." Due to its largely superficial forms of communication, social media can be devastating for users' self-esteem, mental health, and overall sense of disconnection. All right? So I'm going to break this down, and then I will try to bring it closer to the camera. All right, so I want to go over the layers. Again, we need the explain the issue layer. We need the controversy layer. The neutral explain why people disagree layer is what I'm talking about when I say controversy. Then we need the transition to the thesis, and we need the thesis. And we do have all those aspects here. So this is what I mean by explaining the issue. That you're just kind of setting the stage. You're setting them in this social media, what's going on, and then you go over the benefits and the problems. All right. So in recent years, social media. So I'm reading it again for the breakdown. In recent years, social media has allowed users to connect with others around the globe and made made keeping in touch easier than ever before. Users can make friends in countries they have never visited and can share photos, videos, and and family updates with relatives. This is hard to read because I added this. With relatives who, despite their location, are now just a click away. All right, so we were explaining it. However, despite these benefits, social media has several underlying problems that make this form of communication detrimental to users. While social media is often promoted as a tool for connection, in reality, these formats such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter often leave users feeling more disconnected than ever before. So now we've got both sides. We've got the positive, but we've got the negative, and I'm winding into the thesis. This is going to start the transition now. So explaining the issue, and it's kind of bleeding into both sides. We've got both sides there neutrally, right? Because we had the positive first. And then it's leaving not readers, how about users, more disconnected than ever before. Here's the transition where I'm really transitioning to my thesis, where I'm explaining why why it's really kind of more negative and they're feeling more disconnected. Users may log on to share their struggles and find that the superficial comments of their friends leave them feeling even more alone in their problems. Instead of real concerns and offers to help, many users have found only empty likes and vacuous comments like, "You got this." So I put those in quotes, and it's kind of your intro is kind of a blend of, it's in general an overview. It's not as specific as you'll get in the paper, but you want it to be specific enough that they get what the issue is and they get your viewpoint. So this is where I'm transitioning to the thesis. It's not the thesis yet, but I'm really transitioning to show that that this can be problematic, and here's why, right? All right. So vacuous comments like, "You got this," right? So here's the thesis. Due to its largely superficial forms of communication, social media can be devastating for users' self-esteem, mental health, and overall sense of disconnection. I decided in this thesis to use what is called an essay map. It's not the only way to do a thesis, of course. There are many different ways, but this is one. And an essay map means that you give the 3 connected ideas that you will discuss in each paragraph. So I have self-esteem, mental health, and overall sense of disconnection. So now I have an essay map. It has to go with this plan. If you have an essay map, you have to follow your essay map. But it will go with this plan. Body paragraph 1, I talk about self-esteem and social media's negative effect on self-esteem. Body paragraph 2, I will talk about social media's negative effect on mental health. And body paragraph 3, I will talk about social media's negative effect on people feeling disconnected. So an essay map is a really nice way to plan your essay, right? And you can even have an essay map that is not your thesis. This one is having it in the thesis. So I'm going to try to bring this a little closer to the camera. I don't know if this is going to help, but I'm going to try. I don't think this is going to help. It's like too close now. Does this help? I don't know. It's backwards for me. So there we go. I hope you can read this. Okay. To help with this clarity, I'm going to read it one more time. And if you're falling asleep, okay, just set the alarm to wake up in like a minute or something. All right. So in recent years, here we go. Last round for this one. Social media has allowed users to connect with others around the globe and made keeping in touch easier than ever before. Users can make friends in countries that they have never visited and can share photos, videos, and family updates with relatives who, despite their location, are now just a click away. However, despite these benefits, social media has several underlying problems that make this form of communication detrimental to many users. While social media is often promoted as a tool for connection, in reality, these formats such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter often leave users feeling more disconnected than ever before. Okay, users may, show that real quick, users may log on to share their struggles and find that the superficial comments of their friends leave them feeling even more alone in their problems. Instead of real concerns and offers to help, many users have found, that should be real concerns, take off that S, go away S, offers to help, many users have found empty likes and vacuous comments like, you got this. Due to its largely superficial forms of communication, social media can be devastating. There's my big idea. It's devastating. Notice that's not a fact, it's an idea. Devastating. For users' self-esteem, part of my essay map, mental health, and overall sense of disconnection. All right, so that gives us an example then of the intro. We've got our 4 layers, which is explain the issue, explain the controversy, transition to the thesis, have the thesis. We actually have an essay map, which is nice. We have a plan for our essay. And then we just need to go through supporting that plan. Everything in the essay should support the thesis if you have an essay map. So if you go through your 3 connected ideas, if you choose that format, you do need to make sure you follow it exactly. Sometimes we have this great idea and then we think of another idea and we're on to something else. Don't go on to something else. If you have an essay map, you need to support that. With the first point in your map should be the first body paragraph. Second point in the thesis should be the second body paragraph, and so on. All right. I'm going to just see how much we can get through here on. Let's just give an example of that. So body paragraph 1, which would be paragraph 2 in the essay. Sample topic sentence would then be very simply, because now we have a plan, right, would be the first point that we made in our essay map, which was self-esteem. So first, social media can be, I don't feel like saying devastating again and again, but it can be problematic for users' self-esteem. So I hope you're seeing like the connection here. We got self-esteem and that supports the thesis, right? So then that's our topic sentence. So yes, we've got a transition word. We've got a topic sentence. Social media can be problematic for user self-esteem. All right, that is an idea. It is not a fact. People have different opinions on that. That makes it an idea. That's one way to check it. So then you would need to explain that, give your example, give your analysis. All right, so 1 sentence for the topic sentence, 2 to 3 to explain, 2 to 3 as an example, 2 to 3 for the analysis. All right, so that's how you're building your layers. All right, so let's move on from that. Let's do the next example. So paragraph 3, second. What was our next point? Sorry, let me just check that to make sure I'm on track here. Self-esteem, and the last one, mental health. Second, I know it seems like we're repeating the term social media a lot, but that's okay because it's the main point. But I'm trying to see if I can phrase it slightly differently. Maybe like by using social media Yeah, I don't like doing it that way. The phrasing doesn't seem right. So second, I'm just going to be straightforward about it. Social media can have a negative impact on mental health. So I think this is a great example that sometimes we just need to be straightforward. Sometimes, me too. We want to we're like reaching for this great way to phrase it, and sometimes that comes and it flows. But it's better to be straightforward than to be so reaching that it's confusing and we never say our point, right? So it's okay to be straightforward. Second, social media can have a negative impact on mental health. Boom. You kind of get that boom factor, right? Because it's an idea. It's clearly an idea, right? Just come on out and say it, right? Say what you need to say, as the old song says, right? All right, so then you want to explain. It also goes with my Nike theory. Just do it. I mean, just say what you need to say, and it will come forward as really clear to your reader. All right, so explain, all right, and then give your example, and then give your analysis. Right? So in any of these, again, if you have a personal example that you want to use, and honestly, many of us do, because this form of communication is very prevalent. Maybe it happened to you. Maybe it happened to a friend or family member. That's fine. But otherwise, use your sources. So, all right, very good. Let's move on. All right, paragraph 4. Woohoo! Okay. Finally, it's my favorite transition place. Finally, we're almost at the end, right? And finally, it sounds so like we're really emphasizing this because we are. Okay, so finally, Okay, so I have here, finally, by using social media, individuals can often feel very disconnected. It flashed into my brain as I was writing this that I think if I was to write this again, I might say something like, finally, despite its promises of connection, social media often leaves readers feeling disconnected, right? Something like that. But this is also fine, right? So, but the point is they feel disconnected, right? So then again, you want to explain. You want to give your example, and then you want to have your analysis. All right? So then I want to just briefly touch on the conclusion. Oh, wait, we have one other aspect we need to deal with. Don't forget the opposition. All right? So opposition. It's really not a complete argument paper if you don't address the opposition. So what I would do in this case to support my thesis that I wrote and still address the opposition, I would address this aspect of connection. Maybe what I brought up, it would be the right thing to touch on what I said in the intro about this keeping in touch, because that is connection, right? I think I would look at it in the body paragraph where I looked at the last one, disconnection, connection. I think I would say something like, I'm going to give you this phrase: while many argue that social media helps us, talking to my dog, who's talking to me, helping us to stay more connected. Well, it's something like, while many argue that social media helps us to stay more connected, in many cases, all right, this is where I am. Let's see. While many argue that social media helps us to stay more connected, in many cases, its tools for connection are simply not enough to provide sincere something. I don't want to say connection again, but sincere, a word that means connection, sincere something. Fill in the blank. Sincere connection, but we don't want to say that again. So sincere, sincere connection, sincere something, right? So but this, even though I can't just seem to grab that word, this gives you the format that while many argue this, we're saying this. You would explain again about that people are saying, hey, you can connect in this way. We can share photos and videos and all of this kind of stuff. And that might, don't say stuff in the paper, but that might be really helpful in some cases. But in many cases, it's just not enough. Even though we can do that, we often need, someone to give us a hug, or someone to actually show up to help, or someone to just talk with us on the phone, and where we feel a real human connection. And this isn't enough. You need evidence. So give the evidence. Again, even if you already had evidence in the paragraph to support the topic sentence, you need evidence to counter the opposition. All right? Finally, you need your conclusion. As always, touch back on the thesis, touch back on the intro, wrap it up. Give closure, no new info. You can offer, as I went over in the overview, you can offer a final thought if it supports your thesis, what I call getting to the heart of the matter. I am going to offer, because I'm later than I wanted to be, no, I still am going to offer this as an assignment because I still think it's helpful. I would like you to write a conclusion for this intro. So the intro is, I'm gonna read it one more time on the intro, and you're going to write a full conclusion for this intro as a homework assignment. And I think doing that, it just builds your conclusion muscles. And it doesn't mean that you have to have that focus, but whatever focus you have, you're just working that conclusion muscle. You didn't know there were conclusion muscles, did you? Don't tell your doctor, I'm working my conclusion muscles. They'll be confused. But yes, we have conclusion muscles for sure. So you're going to work that conclusion muscle, and it's going to make when you go to write your real conclusion for your real intro, it's just going to make it that much easier. You feel like you've been there before, except that you're supporting your own thesis. So let me read the intro one more time. No, not the intro again. Yes. So if you already fell asleep before, try not to fall asleep again. All right, here we go. Last time for this. In recent years, social media has allowed users to connect with others around the globe and made keeping in touch easier than ever before. Users can make friends in countries they have never visited and can share photos, videos, and family updates with relatives who, despite their location, are now just a click away. However, despite these benefits, social media has several underlying problems that make this form of communication detrimental to users. While social media is often promoted as a tool for connection, in reality, these formats such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter often leave users feeling more disconnected than ever before. Users may log on to share their struggles and find that the superficial comments of their friends leave them feeling even more alone in their problems. instead of real concerns and offers to help. Many users have found empty likes and vacuous comments like, "You got this." Due to its largely superficial forms of communication, social media can be devastating for users' self-esteem. Now I lost my other part. It was self-esteem, mental health, and overall sense of disconnection. All right, I'm sorry that I have lost my other 2 points of my essay map. So I hope that was overall helpful, and I really look forward to reading your paper. And please do contact me if you want to discuss your paper with me or have questions. I'm always happy to talk to you. All right, thank you.